The crunch of fresh snow beneath my boots echoed through the quiet Pennsylvania woods as I trudged deeper into my grandfather's private hunting land. The morning air was crisp, and my breath hung in the freezing stillness. This was my sanctuary, a place where the only sounds were the whispers of the wind through the trees and the distant calls of crows. Little did I know, that tranquility was about to shatter. As I moved cautiously through the forest, my senses heightened by the stark silence, I noticed an unusual set of footprints in the snow. They were not mine, and they were not any creature native to these woods. The tracks led to a dilapidated cabin that stood, forgotten and weathered, near the heart of the hunting grounds. My curiosity melded with the cold unease creeping up my spine, urging me to investigate. The cabin's door creaked open with reluctance, revealing a darkness within that seemed to swallow the feeble daylight. As I cautiously stepped inside, my flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the decaying walls. A pungent odor lingered in the air, a mixture of dampness and something far more sinister. In the dim light, I saw him, a hunched figure in the corner, cloaked in tattered rags. His eyes glowed with an unnatural intensity, reflecting the flashlight like the eyes of a nocturnal predator. His features were twisted and grotesque, a visage that sent shivers down my spine. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice betraying a tremor of fear. He spoke, his voice a low rasp, recounting tales of a forgotten curse that bound him to these woods. He was a soul condemned, seeking redemption through a macabre ritual. A ritual that required a hunter's heart. Panic gripped me, and I stumbled backward, desperate to escape the clutches of this malevolent stranger. The cabin seemed to close in on me, its walls breathing with a life of their own. The woods outside echoed with his haunting laughter, blending with the howls of distant wolves. My heart pounded as I sprinted through the snow-laden woods. The hunter now hunted. The chilling wind carried whispers of a ghostly hunt, a curse that sought to claim its next victim. My every step felt pursued, the shadows stretching towards me, threatening to engulf me in their icy grasp. As I reached the edge of the forest, a ghastly revelation struck me like a bolt of lightning. The footprints I had followed were my own, imprinted on the snow in a sinister dance of self-chase. The cursed figure emerged from the cabin, now a mere shadow among shadows, laughing maniacally. With a surge of terror, I stumbled into the open field beyond the woods. The laughter faded, and the figure vanished, leaving me breathless in the cold moonlight. The cursed ritual was complete. The twisted game concluded. In the eerie quiet that followed, I found myself gasping for breath, the reality of my narrow escape settling like a heavy fog. The air was thick with a palpable malevolence, and my grandfather's once sacred hunting grounds felt tainted, haunted. As I stumbled back home, I couldn't shake the feeling of unseen eyes watching from the darkness. The advice I would pass on to anyone daring enough to venture into those snowy woods echoed in my mind. Beware the echoes of your own footsteps, for sometimes the most haunting specters are the ones we bring with us. Dear listener, if ever you find yourself wandering through the quiet depths of a snowy forest, be wary of the echoes that may follow. The line between hunter and hunted is thin, and the shadows conceal more than you can imagine. In the silence of those woods, malevolent whispers may weave a tale of a cursed hunt, a tale that might claim more than just your footsteps in the snow. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when my childhood innocence was forever tainted by an encounter that haunts my dreams to this day. My family had decided to take a trip to a picturesque park forest in the heart of Bulgaria. The towering trees, painted in shades of red and gold, whispered ancient secrets, and the crunch of fallen leaves beneath our feet added a melody to the tranquil setting. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor, we stumbled upon an abandoned playground nestled deep within the trees. Rusty swings swayed eerily in the breeze, and the faded colors of the play structures hinted at a forgotten joy that once echoed through the woods. Little did I know, this seemingly innocent playground would become the stage for a nightmare. As I explored the area, captivated by the melancholy beauty of the place, I noticed a man in the distance, dressed head to toe in a tattered hunting outfit. He stood perfectly still, blending seamlessly with the surrounding trees. Something about his unmoving figure sent shivers down my spine, but I dismissed it as a trick of the imagination. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the once serene atmosphere morphed into an unsettling stillness. I decided to rejoin my family, but as I turned to leave, I saw the hunter move. In the blink of an eye, he vanished into the shadows, his predatory gaze fixed on me. Panic gripped my chest, but I convinced myself it was a mere coincidence. I quickened my pace, attempting to shake off the unease that had settled upon me like a heavy fog. Yet, with every glance over my shoulder, the hunter was there, silent and relentless. Fear clawed at my throat as I realized I was no longer exploring the park. I was being hunted. My heart pounded in my ears, drowning out the world around me as I sprinted through the darkening forest. The once familiar trees now seemed to close in on me, their twisted branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The hunter's presence was an ever-present shadow, lurking just beyond the edge of my vision. My breaths came in ragged gasps as I stumbled upon the abandoned playground once more. Desperation took hold as I scanned the area for a way out, but the hunter closed in. His footsteps echoed in the silence, a relentless drumbeat that fueled my terror. In a final burst of adrenaline, I pushed through the rusted gate of the playground and into a small clearing. I turned to confront my pursuer, and there he stood, his withered face barely visibly beneath the brim of his hat. In a voice that sent shivers down my spine, he whispered, "You can't escape!" Just as I braced for the inevitable, the hunter's form began to blur and dissipate like smoke in the wind. The once solid figure faded into nothingness, leaving me alone in the clearing, shaken and disoriented. As I stumbled back to my family, I couldn't shake the feeling that the hunter's chilling words lingered in the air. That night, sleep eluded me, haunted by the specter of the forest hunter. Now, as I share this tale, I implore you, dear listener, to heed my warning. Sometimes the line between the ordinary and the macabre is thinner than we dare to imagine. The woods may hold secrets that defy comprehension, and the hunter may still be out there, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul. So, when the shadows lengthen and the breeze carries a whisper of the unknown, remember the terror that lurks in the heart of the forest. It started as a perfect day for a family outing. The sun painted golden hues through the dense foliage, and laughter echoed as our group trekked deeper into the heart of the woods. We were a mix of family and friends, seeking an escape from the hustle of the city. Little did we know the serenity of nature would soon transform into a chilling nightmare. As we ventured further, the woods became denser and an uneasy tension settled upon us. It was as if the very air around us had thickened, making it difficult to breathe. We brushed it off as nerves, blaming the unfamiliarity of the terrain. The forest, once welcoming, began to close in around us. The sunlight, now a distant memory, struggled to penetrate the thick canopy above. It was in this encroaching darkness that we stumbled upon him, a lone figure dressed in ragged hunting gear, his face obscured by the shadows. "Evening, folks," he greeted us with a raspy voice that sent shivers down our spines. "You seem lost. Why don't you join me? I know these woods like the back of my hand." Unease rippled through our group, and we exchanged wary glances. Politely declining, we pressed on, quickening our pace. But as the trees whispered with an unnatural wind, we couldn't shake the feeling of unseen eyes watching our every move. Night fell like a heavy curtain, casting the forest into complete darkness. The moon's feeble attempts to pierce through the thick canopy only added to the eerie atmosphere. We decided to head back, nerves on edge. That's when we heard it. Distant footsteps, mirroring our every move. Panic set in as we quickened our pace, the footsteps growing louder and more menacing. It was then that we stumbled upon a clearing, a small refuge in the suffocating expanse of trees. As we caught our breath, the sinister figure emerged from the shadows. "You shouldn't have run," he snarled, revealing a twisted grin that sent terror coursing through our veins. With a burst of adrenaline, we fled, the pursuer hot on our heels. The once familiar trees became a blur as we desperately sought an escape. Somehow we made it back to our cars, leaving the haunting woods behind. Relieved, we drove home, dismissing the encounter as a bizarre incident. Little did we know, The nightmare was far from over. Days later, a cold chill gripped our hearts when we found him, the hunter, lurking near our homes. Panic set in as we locked doors and called the authorities. The standoff that ensued was a tense battle between the unknown and the protection of our sanctuary. As the authorities apprehended the hunter, his malevolent eyes locked onto mine. In that moment, I knew our encounter was not a random twist of fate. He harbored a sinister agenda that transcended the boundaries of the woods. As the police led him away, a twisted smile played on his lips, leaving a haunting imprint on my memory. The authorities assured us of our safety, but the nightmare had left an indelible mark. The woods, once a haven, now harbored shadows that refused to fade. In the aftermath, the lessons learned were etched into our souls like scars. Our escape wasn't just from a physical threat, but from the lurking shadows that can invade the sanctity of our lives. So, to those who venture into the unknown, heed this advice. The woods may not always be as inviting as they seem, and when darkness falls, be wary of the footsteps that echo in the depths, for you never know who might be following, waiting to turn your perfect day into a chilling encounter gone wrong.